KSR's Jack Pilgrim here at Rupp Arena alongside Zach Gagan breaking down Kentucky's unfortunate 80-73 loss against UNC-Wilmington. Zach, it was a day of news. It was Aaron Bradshaw making his debut. That was fun. Playing on this beautiful new floor. The
really
color
is awesome.
The color is stunning. I mean, the backdrop, the state outline is just riveting. It was a blast being able to. Reed Shepherd makes it from Bracken County. Like that part is always fun. And it was also anew with Kentucky losing to a team that it shouldn't be losing to. Zach, there's a lot to kind of dissect. The lead up to it, we got Zvonimir Avicic working out for the first time, DJ Wagner out, so Kentucky missing its starting point guard. There's a lot of different angles that we could go with, but at the end of the day, Kentucky just couldn't come up with stops. Defense was a serious issue today, and it ended up costing the Cats for the first time against a non-number one team in the country.
Yeah, this was a very, you could feel kind of the buzz through this game. I got here about 2.5 hours early so I could check out the court, take pictures, do everything. Aaron Perkins behind the camera there, he did the same thing. You could feel kind of the energy, and then when Aaron came out to do his warm-ups about an hour ahead of time, you could touch it. You could feel like the buzz that was surrounding. And then Rupp Arena was almost packed. You know, just coming off a top 10 win over Miami, really beat the hell out of Miami on Tuesday, 5 days ago. And then you come into this, everything is kind of shaping up for a kind of a perfect scenario for Kentucky to really get the fan base bought all the way in. And then they really just kind of lay an egg from start to finish. There was a stretch in the beginning of the second half where UK really put their energy out there, tried to put things together.
Actually got a 6-point lead.
They got a 6-point lead, yeah, after they were down by 8 at halftime. They were down by, I think, 14 at one point in the first half. Got down maybe by double digits again in the second half at one point too. And everything in the post-game press conferences was selfishness and a lack of overall energy. How does that happen, I guess? You could chalk up to not having DJ Wagner. Reed Shepherd actually had a really good game, but even he made some really just kind of boneheaded decisions in the first half that cost Kentucky a bunch of times. Just poor effort, execution with rebounding overall. So I thought Aaron played well in his 13 minutes, but yeah, just the overall team play was not there tonight for whatever reason. But credit to UNC-Wilmington. I don't want to mispronounce his first name, but White was his last name. He came out and had 27 points. He got the toughness chain, which is the first time we've seen any sort of chain going around for the opposing team. But they just played better than Kentucky from start to finish. That's really all it was. They hit a lot of tough shots. You kind of just have to tip your cap to them, and that's how it all played out.
Can I give a hot take, Zach?
I would love a Jack Pilgrim hot take.
I don't really feel it. I don't care. Like, is that weird? That I don't know if it's because I have seen this team beat the hell out of a top 10 team in the country, and I have seen them peak and look the way they have, and I don't know, when there's so many moving parts and so many things to adjust to, trying to figure out what the heck to do with Aaron Bradshaw, figuring out Reed Shepherd starting for the first time, the early,
big buzz, big pop when he got introduced too. That was cool.
It was like, I was expecting, like, there's a reason why the betting line was set what it was, 17.5, and I was like, not touching that with the 10-foot pole, because I kind of knew it would be an ugly game, and UNC-Wilmington is a team that likes to muck things up, full court pressure, that, they try to slow you down and not turn it into a track meet and go against what Kentucky does really well, tries to feed them off of the three-point line. UNC-Wilmington just making a bunch of shots. When you can kind of start seeing the game trending the way it was going, I kind of just in my head said, yeah, there's a real chance they lose this game, and I'm not going to come on the rapid reaction afterward and go, well, Cal stinks again, time to burn the ship down and tear this floor up and put the old one back with the ugly stickers. Like, I don't know, I just kind of had this feeling after the game where it's like, yeah, we were expecting to lose some early games. This is a young team. They were going to revert. They were not going to shoot nuclear every single time they put their jerseys on and score 100 every night. Like, this team was going to have some ups and downs. This was just a down, but we have seen them play as well as anybody in college basketball, and that just makes me think, well, we'll get back to it. Just got to hit regroup. You don't play for another week. I like having some downtime to be able to get back to what was working and figure things out.
Yeah, I guess you could call this maybe a trap game. Sure. Having a week off coming up, you've got all the buzz with Aaron and everything, but I think Kentucky, what do you want to say, 4 or 5 of the toilet bowl shots where it literally went around the rim and popped right out. I mean, I can't tell me how many times that happened in the first half. Poor Justin Edwards had it happen at least 3 times throughout the game. And UK just, 5, I think it was 5 for 17 from 3. 3, season low percentage-wise. They just weren't on it. I know they had 9 turnovers in the first half. This team was averaging 8 on the season. To have 9 in the first half, I mean, it was just sloppy play after sloppy play. I don't know if they were still asleep for a 4 o'clock tip-off, but it sure felt like it out there. I mean, we can talk about Reed's game. I still thought he played really well, 25 points. Antonio Reeves fouled out. He actually got called out by Cal twice for allowing those offensive rebounds that ended up, I don't know if we're both and ones for UNC-Wilmington. They scored on both, I believe. Yeah. So Reeves got called out, just kind of a lack of energy there. Not having DJ probably did kind of hurt things a little bit because he would have been able to really penetrate that defense, and his play just overall kind of exudes energy, and maybe he can kick some life into his teammates, but that just... He's
like the perfect, hey,
what are we doing?
Get your head out of your butt. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, he's the ultimate put your foot in your butt guy.
Put your foot in your butt guy. I like that. Any other weird stats? 46 to 5 bench points. I think that's a little misleading because they did a weird platoon thing where, like, the first 3 minutes they brought in their 5 best players, which was kind of odd. Like, literally their 3 best players all came off the bench. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. I'm pretty sure that they were still leading, maybe by 5 or 6 by the time all their other guys came in. Their leading scorer, who had 27 points, he came off the bench, so that kind of spelled that story there. And then, without Wagner, Burks kind of didn't really play that much. Bradshaw was limited, so it was really just a 6-man rotation out there. Maybe they were just off kilter that way, but we're struggling to think of things here.
It was weird. Like it really was weird, and I know it's easy to make the first reaction to, on paper Kentucky loses to unranked UNC-Wilmington. It's so easy to make
a team that is projected to win their conference. If we want to find a silver lining.
Andy Katz, the NCAA.com, just had this team as an NCAA tournament team yesterday. So I just don't want this to turn into back to all of our past struggles and concerns about this program and the trajectory of how things were going and all that. Like, I don't want us to revert back to easy clickbaity stuff. Like, understand that this was always going to be a process. There were always going to be downs with the ups. The shooting was unsustainable. The ball security, where they're turning the ball over 3 times in a game, that was never going to be sustainable. You just kind of have to find a happy medium there and do the things that you know how to do really well and continue to do them well and minimize some of those mistakes. They weren't able to find that happy medium. It's going to be fine. This is a very good team. We've seen them play elite basketball. Let's not rush to judgment and just give up on this team after one bad performance. They still got it in them. You get DJ Wagner back. You figure out what the heck to do with Aaron Bradshaw, and I like this team. We did get an update before the game from Cal. Uganon Yenso is very close to returning. I had heard on my end that we should expect him before conference play, with it, which is a fantastic update. We'll figure out what to do with them. You always like length. You always like rebounding. That's a great thing, but I'm fine. Just take a deep breath. This is good. It's not a good loss. You never want this to unfold, but I'm not giving up on this team. It's going to be a minute. Just ride the wave with them.
Still a lot of freshmen out there playing a lot of basketball. There were Trey Mitchell and Antonio. They didn't really have bad games either. Both scored in double figures. Mitchell had 6 rebounds, 3 assists. But yeah, just no vocal leadership from those guys. Maybe kind of hurt a little bit. Cal's kind of said all year long that DJ is the vocal leader. I think you saw just kind of how that plays out when you have a short bench and you don't have your vocal leader or your guy that can go out there and really spark some energy into you. So, yeah, like Jack said, I don't think the ship's burning. Definitely a bad loss. I don't think there's really no other way to kind of go around that. They should have won this game. Coming into the game, they should have won it. But if you watched this game, objectively, and you had no idea who either of these teams were, you would have thought that UNC-Wilmington was a better team from start to finish. Aaron Bradshaw coming in, and they didn't really change things up. Aaron Bradshaw was actually, I think, a plus 11 by the time the game was over. So you can say that he still had he still made a positive impact on the team, but. Yeah, he didn't really play too much in the second half either. I think that was just because Cal knew that he needed to, he was worried. He knew that he had to win this game, and with a guy like Bradshaw who's only playing his first game, didn't really want to shove him in there and try and make him be the guy to win the game. UNC was a smaller team, UNC-Wilmington, and they just kind of beat Kentucky by hitting a lot of tough shots. I mean, they hit at least 2 or 3 down there in the last 5 minutes where it was hand-in-the-face type situation, just good for them, tough type shots that they made. So.
Fellas, we got to get this ladder through.
Well, it's very clear that our day is over here. Kentucky falls 80-73 here at Rupp Arena. We'll see you guys next Saturday in Philadelphia. Go Cats.